Okay, we're live.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Madam Clerk. We'll call this meeting to order.
Alderman,
Thank you.
Alderman Boyd,
Present.
Alderman Vaccaro,
Present.
Alderman Cone, Alderman Muhammad,
Present.
Alderman Oldenburg, Alderwoman Middlebrook,
Present.
Chairwoman Davis,
Present.
Alderman Cone, Alderman Oldenburg. 5 present, you have quorum.
Thank you. We'll wait to excuse the alderman in case some come on later on. We do have minutes to be approved from June 25th.
I move to
Make the motion, we approve those minutes.
second.
Second.
Moved in second. Would you please call the roll?
Alderman Boyd,
Aye.
Alderman Vaccaro,
Aye.
Alderman Cone, Alderman Muhammad,
Aye.
Alderman Oldenburg, Alderwoman Middlebrook,
Aye.
Chairwoman Davis.
Aye.
5 aye votes.
All right, thank you very much. Alderwoman Middlebrook, you have 3 bills here. If you don't mind, the airport only has 1. Could I let them do theirs first?
Absolutely.
All right, thank you very much. So I see that the director's present. Would you please let us know who's going to make the presentation for Board Bill number 115?
She's muted.
Yeah, you're muted, Rhonda. Sorry about that. Apology. Thank you, Chairwoman Davis, and good morning to everyone. I'm going to have Antonio Strong present the board bill this morning, and I'm going to turn it over to Antonio.
Okay.
Good morning, Transportation and Commerce Committee members.
Morning.
Morning. I'm presenting a board bill requesting a change to our contractual obligations to our concessionaires and tenants. The COVID-19 pandemic continues to be a devastating impact on the aviation industry, which includes airports and the concessionaires and tenants that serve the airport. The FAA awarded CARES grant funds to the airport in April to provide relief from O&M expenses and debt obligations, of which that award was $59.9 million. But more recently, the FAA encouraged airports to use all available tools to mitigate adverse impacts on large and small businesses. So we met with airport stakeholders and determined we would amend contractual payment obligations for our concessionaires to provide a 4-month abatement of minimum annual guarantees for concession operators and permit fees for ground transportation operators. The concessionaires and ground transportation operators will continue to pay a percentage of their gross revenues to the airport, space rental fees, or other contractually obligated payments during this 4-month abatement period. However, the entities will have the opportunity to terminate their participation in our current deferral program that was approved in May, which allowed them to defer 3 months, but they would have to repay that in fiscal year 2021. This deferment program replaces that deferral program. Well, this abatement program replaces that deferral program. So your package included a more in-depth policy outlining the terms of that contractual amendment. In a sample of the contractual amendment, each concessionaire or ground transportation operator will need to agree to. At this time, we respectfully request your approval of this draft ordinance or this draft bill to amend payment obligations for our concessionaires and operators.
Okay, thank you very much. What I'd like to do now is to start with our committee members. Alderman Boyd, do you have any questions?
Can curious question. Good morning. How's the airport doing overall?
So the airport is, we're still, we're still moderately operating pretty proficiently. The CARES grant funding has helped us substantially. We have used about 12 million of CARE grants funding since it was approved in April. We're trying to spread that out a little bit evenly throughout the year to help us. Without the CARES grant funding, we would probably be struggling a lot more than what we currently are. But however, our tenants are still paying their percentage of gross revenues. They are still paying, it's just much lower than what we've seen in the past. Some revenues that we would have seen at 100% last year, we're only getting about 40 or 50% of revenues than what we've seen in the past. But however, we've lowered our O&M expenses to help counter the amount of lower revenues that we're receiving.
Alderman Boyd,
Yes.
in addition to that, this is Rhonda. In addition to that, one thing that I think is important to notice is because Southwest is our stronger carrier, and I do think Southwest has fared better in this than any other carrier. So during the summer months, where lots of stations saw 70 and 80% reduction of flight activity, we actually retained a 71% of our flight activity. Southwest also continued to push the connecting traffic through here. So prior to pre-COVID, Southwest connecting traffic was about 38%. I can tell you since COVID that connecting traffic has risen to 75%, meaning that that has allowed the local community to keep more flight activity as they've seen this as a good place to connect through. So part of our goal in all of this is to come out stronger on the backside and to make sure that, that partnership with Southwest continues here and that connecting traffic and the ability to push more traffic through St. Louis is a primary focus for us. So we are pleased with, obviously it's devastating when we compare 2019, the best year we've had in 20 years. But when we compare ourselves to our peers and to the industry, we actually are faring pretty well from a flight standpoint and from a passenger planement standpoint.
Awesome. Thank you. No further questions, Madam Chair.
Okay, Alderman Vaccaro. Alderman Vaccaro needs to. I'll come back. He'll figure it out in a second.
No, the host had me muted or something. I could not unmute.
Okay.
It's pretty simple. I understand. I'm just curious, is that 4 months going now forward or is it going backwards?
So they can choose the 4 months going backwards. I believe we started the time frame that they can choose is going back to April time frame going forward. So most likely what we assume the concessionaires will do is they deferred most of their months of May, March, April, May. So they will probably take that abatement to use for March, April, May, and possibly June.
Okay, and so on the batch, isn't that computed out over a year, or is that they just didn't pay it, but eventually they're gonna have to pay it anyway?
Not with the abatement program. The deferral program, they would have to repay it, but with the abatement program, this is revenue that they will not have to pay back. But keep in mind that they still have to pay a percentage of their gross revenues. They just will not be paying the MAG.
Okay. No, I mean, I think it's good, that we're helping. I was just curious. Okay, thank you.
All right. Alderman Muhammad.
Hey, thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Strong, I just have just one question. First, thank you for everything you and Rhonda do. Uh, what aspect of the airport was hit hard the most during COVID? Just wondering.
What?
Say that again?
What aspect or what specific operations of the airport was hit hardest the most during COVID?
Yeah.
Just a curious question.
Yeah, I would say it's all, our airport's driven by emplanements. And obviously, if you look at the emplanements, Alderman Ahmed, we're 60% down from where we were a year ago. So that affects your parking. So, we own the 2 garages and the 5 lots. That's a significant source of revenue for the airport because we own it. That has taken, an 80% hit. I mean, we had to close 3 of the lots. We did that in an effort not to have any expenses on those because we knew that there wasn't enough business. So I would say because it's all driven starting at the top with passenger, but because parking is a huge source of revenue for us, that took a dramatic hit. And then on the concession side, because of the lack of employments compared to 2019, a number of the concessions were closed down. So even if you take the abatement out of it and they're paying their 10%, that 10% of their gross receipts is obviously on a significantly reduced operation. So, we do have a sit-down restaurant open on each concourse, and we have at least like a to-go restaurant, whether that be Starbucks or the Burger King or a Dunkin' Donuts. So we make sure that there's something, but it's been really hard for the concessions to remain open. And they obviously did do a lot of layoffs as well of employees. So, I would say the parking and the concessions have taken the biggest hits, but at the top, it's all based on employments. And remember, our employments, where the industry average had been running about 28 to 30%, we were running 40% of the employments. So we feel, I guess, somewhat lucky that we actually were able to gain more employments than most markets. So I hope that answers your question.
Absolutely, it does. Thank you, Director, and thank you, Antonio.
You're welcome.
No further questions, Madam Chair.
Okay, Alderman Oldenburg.
I have no questions.
Okay, Alderwoman Middlebrook.
I have no questions. Thank you.
Okay, I see we have some other aldermen on line. Alderwoman Evans, do you have any questions?
No, I'm just listening in to hear the updates and so forth of this.
Okay. Alderman Guenther, do you have any questions?
No questions. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. Alderwoman Grass, do you have any questions?
No, ma'am. Thank you, though.
Okay. I also wanted to recognize, I'm assuming that Tom Ray, you're representing the Comptroller's office, and this has been approved by that office.
I have actually not seen it. I'm here for the other bills, Madam Chairman.
The other
but-
bills? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Let's, did you have anything for closing? Antonio?
No, but you were just mentioning that, the mayor's office will have approved it. It was approved by ENA. So Comptroller office and mayor's office and Board of Alderman president.
Thank you for adding that. I don't have any questions. I know that this is much needed, and I'd like to ask the chair to call a roll to approve Board Bill number 115.
So we need to I'll make a motion. We
Oh,
approve.
yeah, you know, you need to do that.
I think we should. I'll make a motion. We
think that would
approve
help.
Bill 115.
Second.
Second.
It moved in second, thanks.
And previous roll, or you want roll call?
I can
Yeah.
accept the previous roll.
Alderman Oldenburg wasn't
Objection
on
to
previous
previous
roll.
roll.
Wasn't?
Okay,
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 let's
I'm
move
sorry.
ahead. Call the roll.
Alderman Boyd,
Aye.
Alderman Vaccaro,
aye,
Alderman Cone, Alderman Muhammad,
Aye.
Alderman Oldenburg,
Aye.
Alderwoman Middlebrook,
Aye.
Chairwoman Davis.
Aye.
6 aye votes.
Thank you. Board Bill 115 has been approved for a past due recommendation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairwoman Davis and Transportation Committee members.
We're going to get off unless you need us for anything else.
Okay, I
Thank
don't
you.
think so. All right, thank you. Alderwoman Middlebrook.
Thank you. I'm here.
So
Okay.
what I'd like for you to do is to set the stage for your presentations. Please indicate the order you'd like these bills to be heard.
They will go Board Bill 120, 121, and 122.
Okay, thank you. So please move forward. Board Bill
Okay,
120.
thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee. Board Bill 120 is a board bill which amends ordinance number 69381, which authorized a lease agreement with the City of St. Louis and the Metropolitan Park Recreation Division, Green Rivers Gateway, to approve the first amendment to a lease agreement for the temporary reduction of land improvements, which are over by the Mary Meacham site. And this was done for Walsh Construction Company to rebuild the Merchant Bridge, which is owned by Terminal Railroad. And they want to, that's what this is about. And once Walsh has completed the rebuilding, then this will automatically terminate and that land will go back to Mary Meacham. I have here Roland Comfort, which is the port project manager, and Tom Ray, which is the port outside counsel for the leases. And they can answer any questions that you may have, which are associated with Board Bill 120.
Okay, so what we'd like to do is to move forward with committee members' questions, and if needed, your representatives can answer as appropriate. So let's start with Alderman Boyd.
No questions.
Alderman Vaccaro,
no questions,
Alderman Muhammad,
No questions, Madam Chair.
Alderman Oldenburg,
No questions, Alderwoman. Thank you.
and I have no questions either. Does Alderwoman Evans have any questions?
No, I do not.
Alderman Guenther, do you have any questions?
No questions.
And Alderwoman Gross, do you have any questions? Okay, we're going to move on.
I'll make that motion then, that we pass this out with a due pass recommendation.
Second, previous.
It's been moved and second, requesting previous roll we shall accept for Board Bill number 120, the past due recommendation. Alderwoman Middlebrook would like to move forward on Board Bill 121.
Thank you. Board Bill 121 amends ordinance number 68573, which authorized a lease agreement with the City of St. Louis and Terminal Railroad Association and Illinois Corporation, approving a first amendment to lease agreement for certain lands at or near Madison Street to the north and Mound Street to the south for 5 years with two 5-year options. The lease sets the rent at $53,895 annually and increases the same from originally $27,604.76 and currently $32,860.81. Again, I have Mr. Roland Comfort and Tom Ray here to answer any questions that any committee member will have.
Okay, thank you very much. Alderman Boyd,
No question, Madam Chair.
okay. Alderman Vaccaro,
No real question. It seems like the amount we're collecting is almost doubled, so I have no questions.
that's a good thing. Thank you. Yes. Alderman Muhammad,
None, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Alderman Oldenburg,
No questions. Thank you, Alderman.
okay. Alderwoman Evans,
No questions.
Alderman Guenther,
No questions.
okay. Alderwoman Gross, okay. I have no questions. I am very excited that we have looked at these leases and we're coming into the 20th century with our prices on them. And so this is a good thing to see it increase like that.
So I'll make the motion, if you're
Right ahead.
accepting motions, that we pass this out with the do pass recommendation.
Second, previous row.
It's been moved and second with previous roll to adopt Board Bill number 121 with the do pass recommendation. Alderwoman Middlebrook, I'm going to move forward on Board Bill 122.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Board Bill 122 amends ordinance number 68574, which authorized a lease agreement with the City of St. Louis and Lewis and Clark Marine Incorporated as an assigner to SCF Lewis and Clark Terminals, LLC, a Delaware corporation, approving a first amendment to lease agreement for certain lands at or near Tyler Street for 5 years with two 5-year options. The lease sets the base rent at $36,677.06 annually, with adjustments as set forth in Exhibit A to the original lease agreement. Again, I have Roland Conker and Tom Ray who are here to answer any questions that any board member may have for this board bill.
Okay, thank you. Alderman Boyd,
No questions.
Alderman Vaccaro,
No questions.
Alderman Muhammad, Alderman Muhammad,
No questions, Madam Chair. I'm sorry.
thank you. Alderman Oldenburg,
No questions.
Alderwoman Evans,
No questions.
Alderman Guenther,
No questions.
Alderwoman Gross.
No questions.
Okay, I don't have any questions either. And we can,
I'll make the motion, we pass this out. I'm sorry, I'm walking around, but I make the motion, we pass this out with the do pass recommendation.
Second, previous row.
been moved in second with previous roll call to adopt Board Bill 122 for the past due recommendation. Alderwoman Middlebrook,
Thank you.
that was smooth and
Yes, ma'am.
painless.
Yes, ma'am.
So, thank you. On our agenda
Thank you.
for today, we don't have any other bills, but what I'd like to ask of the committee members is if we could.
Alderwoman,
Madam Chair, we have 2 more bills on there.
yes.
Where is it?
The first 2
You know
items.
what? Hold it. You know what I'm doing? I'm looking at the earlier version and I need to come back and look at today. I have no issues. Go right ahead. So I did Board Bill 120. Okay. Madam Chair, my next board bill is,
Board Bill 111 by Alderman Guenther.
and my next one, because I got the
Is
other one in front of me.
112 by, sponsored by Alderman Coder.
Okay. Okay. So Board Bill 111, Alderman Guenther, you ready?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Board Bill 111 is a renewing a lease with or creating a lease with SCF Lewis and Clark for mooring purposes along the riverfront. This creates a 5-year lease with 4 options, each of 5 years after that. The current lease is going to be set at $59,000 and $59,082 per year rent, with a 2% escalator each year after that. And I also have Mr. Roland Comfort and Tom Ray from the board to answer any questions.
Okay. Alderman Boyd,
No questions, thank you.
Alderman Vaccaro,
No questions.
Alderman Muhammad, Alderman Muhammad, Alderman Oldenburg,
No questions.
Alderwoman Middlebrook,
No questions.
Alderwoman Evans,
No questions.
and Alderwoman Gross.
No questions.
Okay. I don't have any questions either. So we're ready to accept the motion.
I'll make that motion. We pass it out with the pass recommendation.
Second.
Previous rule.
Okay, it's been moved in second, requesting previous roll to adopt Board Bill 111 with a due pass recommendation. Thank you, Alderman Guenther.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Board Bill 112, Alderman Kotar.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Much like some of the previous board bills, Board Bill 112 is a new lease for some space along the riverfront, mooring space in the 7th Ward between Lafayette and a little bit south of Lafayette Boulevard or Avenue. It's a 10-year lease with SCF Lewis and Clark with 2 renewal periods, one for 3 years, one for 5 years. Rent starts at about $26,000, escalating 2% a year. I know Mr. Ray and Mr. Comfort are here if there's any further questions, but once again, this is replacing a very old lease with a previous entity with a new lease at a much higher rate. I think it's a very good thing.
Okay. We'll move on with questions. Alderman Boyd,
No questions.
Alderman Vaccaro,
Just no, I was going to ask Jack about his haircut, but no other questions.
okay. Alderman Muhammad, Alderman Muhammad, Alderman Oldenburg,
No questions.
Alderwoman Middlebrook,
I have no questions. Thank you.
okay. Alderwoman Evans,
No questions.
Alderwoman Gross,
No questions.
okay. I have no questions. I just want to make a comment that it just pleases me to see us improving the cost on these lease. If we keep this process going, it'll show that we can truly improve our economic forecast. Some of those leases were just, I couldn't believe they were still in 1970 rates. So we're doing good, and I appreciate that. I'd like to accept the motion to
And
approve.
I'll make the motion to approve the due pass recommendation.
Second, previous row.
It's been moved in second with previous roll to adopt Board Bill 112 with a due pass recommendation. I thank you for that, Alderman Kotar.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
As we move forward, is there any other discussion that needs to happen from any of the committee members? Do you have any concerns? The only thing I'd like to bring forward is making sure that the Thursday 10 o'clock is a good time for everybody. If we put it on our calendars, and what I'd like to do is to go through maybe for the next 3 months and identify, because I think we really only need to have one meeting a month at this point. And it needs to always be a meeting after the airport, the week after the airport. So if that's an agreement, I'll have a memo sent out with those dates and time so that we can have it early. Any comments?
Thursday at 10 works for me, Madam Chair.
Yeah, it works for me. I just wonder, I mean, like, is it gonna clash with HUD's or someone else?
It
or-
works for me.
HUD's is usually Wednesdays.
Okay, cool. No, I'm good. I can.
Works for me, Madam Chair.
Okay. Alderman Muhammad, you were saying something?
Yes, ma'am. I was saying that Thursdays at 10 are fine with me.
Good. Anybody else?
It's fine with me, Madam Chair, as well.
All right, very good. Then I'll get a memo out. We can put it on our calendars early, and everybody else will also understand when we're meeting. And if they want something on their calendar, on this calendar for approval, they know when to get it done. So I thank you very much. Let's move on and excuse Alderman Shane Cone. And if there's no other business, no other concerns, I'd like to call this meeting to adjournment.
I guess I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
Thank you.